Shavua Tov. I missed you all on Shabbos. If you guys don't mind, something very, very important. We know we already have the next sefer that we're going to be learning, but I'm dafka not jumping there until we start getting in the tefillot. I asked already a month ago, but no one gave it in yet, and it's okay. We're not in high school, so it's not like this feeling of. I always thought though, dafka, because we're not in high school, something would be done. So this is like cool, Musar. Don't worry, it's fine. You could handle it. But in order to really keep the flow of what we're trying to do, then we have to tie the learning into prayers, into tefillot. Choose any of the shiurim, any of the 72 classes we've had. I'm sure you could just grab, you can open your heart to one of them. It'll remind you, it'll start to pump the flow again of what that was like, the vibe, throughout B'nai Machshava Tova, because the next sefer we have is just explosive. But I don't want to jump into the next sefer until the tefillot start coming in. So please, if you can, I don't want to wait till Elul to start putting it together, because in Elul I want it to be out already and share it with the world. Please take time. I think I sent a link to the Dropbox link of all the 72. But if you want, obviously you can go on the SoundCloud page, scroll down, find a shir, open your heart, sing a nigun, and take it from there. Okay, we're cool? It's cool? Is it Hashem? You all look like you're in the principal's office right now. That's not the point. Mamad, if you can, it would be really, really special to feel like the flow is going. Because next year, B'ezrat Hashem, I hope we're just going to be learning more and more and more B'ezrat Hashem, all of us together. Amen to that. So we have a short piece today. A piece of very much an exercise piece, because you'll see how this is something that actually I'll put the question out before we go inside. A very short piece from Rabbi Shlomo on the Parsha. When was the last time that you could have chosen to take responsibility for something, but it was so much easier to not take responsibility for something? Okay. Yeah? You're there with the question. Don't give me the answer, the question, right? When was the last time you could have taken responsibility for something that you saw that was wrong? But because you don't want to bury yourself in guilt, so you're like, listen, I can't deal with this. So I'm not going to take this response. This is crazy. But what happens, if you notice, there's so many times that we think that taking responsibility means fixing something. But that's not necessarily the situation. Taking responsibility over seeing something that you feel is off or think is off doesn't necessarily mean it's on you to fix this whole thing. It's mamash what it says in Pirkei Avot. Lo alecha melacha meligmor, velo ata ben chorin libatel mimena. Right? Is that the lashon? I think so. Lo alecha melacha meligmor. You're not supposed to fix the whole thing, but you don't have freedom to just say, "Not my problem." Now I'm feeling this on a national level in Eretz Yisrael, very much so. A lot of pretty out there things. Bina and I were out in Tel Aviv on Thursday night. It's a lot going on in the world, mamish.
It's a good weekend to be there.
To what? To take responsibility?
For out there things.
For out there things. So there's this place of like, well, I can't. How am I going to take responsibility over anything? Right? But then there's a place of maybe like the classic Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, that anything that I see, ichshu, somehow, is shayach for me, and is a sign for me that on a certain level I need to get my act together a bit more. So this theme of what's happening throughout Sefer Bamidbar is all these different mistakes, and like we keep on saying, like Rabbi Shlomo called it the book of mistakes. And it's big people making big mistakes, but it has a theme that runs through all these big mistakes that are happening. So let's see how Rabbi Shlomo takes this. I'm not sure. We probably don't have enough again. I just have to buy more paper. I'm just out of paper. I'm going to get paper before B'ezras Hashem later today. And the learning today, as we continue to storm Shamayim with tefillot for Yakir Ephraim ben Rachel Dvorah, also have in mind my nephew Yakir Shlomo ben Tanya Malka. Have him in mind as well. B'ezras Hashem. 2 Yakirs, a lot of preciousness in the world. 2 Yakirs. Did it make it around? Yeah. You guys got it? Oh, Yofi. Hi, Shlomo Katz. What's your name? Shimshon. Okay. Okay. Rabbi Shlomo says like this. There are 2 kinds of friends. One friend is someone who, that whenever I do something wrong, he points it out to me right away. You have chaver like that? You know what I mean? I came to the conclusion that I have a lot of very close friends. No, last year I came to the conclusion, I had like so many friends last year were like, listen, no one probably tells him like, that level of, he probably needs that kind of friendship in his life, of people that are too intimidated to tell him that he might be doing something wrong, or I'm Amish. Last year I realized I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends. That's the first type of friend, right? Whenever there's something there, he points out to me right away. Whenever I make a mistake, he puts it right on my plate. Such a good friend. But this is not the kind of friend I'm looking for. Here I have another friend, a real friend. And when I do something wrong, you know what they say? They say, it's all my fault. Because if I would be better, you would be better also. Say that line again outside the text. A friend that sees like, basically, stop reading throughout the text just because it's in English. It's like learning Gemara. You're going to get confused in a second, trust me. If I have a certain friend that basically, I see that they're off in something, it's easy for me to say, thank God I'm not them. Hashem, thank you that that's not my trip. What stops me from saying, wow, if I would be better, they would be better too? Is it a false concept of ego? I could say, how could I say such a thing, right? Who am I? How could I say that if I'd be a better person, if I was holier, they'd be doing better too? Is that ego? What do you think that is? So what is it? What prevents me from actually feeling that, thinking that?
I think it's just kind of like not wanting to put more on your plate. Well, for me, I just not wanting to put more on my plate.
Okay, fair.
Like I got nothing
Legitimate.
on my plate.
Legitimate, right. Yesh li maspik al ha'osh. What else? What else would prevent me from actually saying such a statement or feeling such a statement?
You just don't have the confidence in yourself that you have.
Right, you don't really believe that you wouldn't.
It's like, the Kutzner is to say you have that ability to change the world.
Right.
One person at a time.
Nachon. But you don't really believe that you can impact, I know. If I see someone that I feel is like mamash, in just bringing darkness into the world, what stops me from thinking that if I was holier, or if I worked on my act better, it would actually affect them? Go through the thought process for a second. What stops me from thinking that?
I don't think that I'm really like kashrut to that guy. So like, how is my actions gonna affect him? Like,
Nachon.
Like I'm not even on the same,
Nachon. Like what's the? I'm not even that close, or I'm not even connected to that person. Now, what happens when you work on yourself so much, and then you see that it really didn't affect another person's life? What happens then? Self-doubt. And then what really starts messing with you? Your ego. That's the part of the Mishnah, En ata ben chorin li lo alecha al melacha ligmor. Remember that famous story I told you that Rabbi Shlomo came into the office of the Lubavitcher Rebbe when he was working for him? He was working for the Rebbe day and night, and he was going out to the college campuses. That's when Shlichus really started. Like, you know that Rabbi Shlomo was one of the first emissaries of the Rebbe. And right after this started, Rabbi Shlomo came into the office one day and said to him, Rebbe, how do I know if it's really making a change, if I'm really making an impact or not? Like, I see they get high with me over Shabbat, like when I'm with them, and it's all very special, and I could tell a story and it feels very good, but l'maaseh, how do I know if it's really making a change? Bafal. So the Rebbe told him an eitzah that changed his life forever. He said to him, it's not for you to know. Meaning, it's not for you to know legamre, basof shel davar, how it really completely changed. Why? Because then I would just work on percentages of how many did I actually matzliach to fully, change. Then it becomes a business. It's like just like a gambler. Like it's a numbers game. It's a points game. That we stay far away from. But we see that this concept of thinking that if I really work on myself, that someone else would actually come out of darkness, it's not so clear that we actually believe in that. That's what we don't really understand. We don't really believe that that's true. Whether it's because of what you said about a connection, how connected I am to the person, whether it's self-confidence, whatever the reasons are, we don't really believe that. So let's see how he says this over here. A lot of parents put everything on their children, but the real deep ones are the ones that say, if only I would be better, my children would be better. I was so hoping he wouldn't go there, because that's the real one. For all the parents and soon-to-be parents, B'ezras Hashem, we all know that this is a real tough one. What does this mean? There's two ways of looking at problems with chinuch. One of them is, Ribono Shel Olam, what kind of bag did you give me? What kind of deck did you deal me? I can't believe this is my deck. Look at the Schwartzes. Look at you see, if you would be better, he wouldn't be crying right now. You see what I mean? There's two ways of looking at it. One of them is really like, if I would be better, then you wouldn't give me such children. Or, you look at it much deeper, and you say, Ribono Shel Olam, if I only taught them better what the word of God is, what it means to hear your word, there's no way that they would have such a rebellion. I have to tell you a story that happened to me Friday afternoon. We stayed by close friends of my family on Shabbos in Ranana, because my parents' house was filled, because my sister was there with her family. And the place that I was staying in, so it's such a very, very sweet family, good, but one of the people that live there are addicted to Ha'ach HaGadol. Have you heard of this show? No one's, wow.
Yeah, it's Big Brother.
I don't know what it is. It's an American show too, yeah? So in Israel, Ha'ach HaGadol, it's basically people that are put into a house, and cameras are on them all day long, morning to night. No, now it's very, very big, apparently in Israel. There's cameras on these people. It's actually its own channel now on Israeli cable TV, where there's cameras on you morning to night. And you've heard of Ha'ach HaGadol? You've heard of this? Is everyone embarrassed to admit that they actually watched it? Is that what's going on over here?
I know the show in America, like,
Yeah.
15
years ago.
So the person that was staying with, they were watching it right before Shabbos. I looked at this, and it was like a 65-inch screen TV in the living room, and you see people like just. So I asked the person. I said, "What is this show? What is this?" He's like, "Oh, She's like a mamish, like a family. I know I'm crazy. This is just my thing, but whatever. It is what it is. So I'm like, but what is this? Oh, that guy. I say, who's that guy? And it was this dude with tattoos, mamish, all over, nose rings, piercings, and his name was Yisrael. Usually guys like that, it's not their name, right? It's or if it was, that's not what they go by anymore, right? I said, who's this guy? Mamish, like totally, a lot of chen. Look beautiful. So he said, oh, he grew up in Bnei Brak. He's a yeshiva bacher, but obviously you could see it's not his bag anymore. And all Shabbos, Hashem wanted me to see this, because all Shabbos, I had an image of Yisrael, of this guy, with mamish covered head to toe, and nose rings and everything, and I could have mamish. I said all Shabbos, there's no way in the world that he learned Torah from someone who heard the words "I love you" when they taught Torah. That's one, and two is that there's no way that he grew up in a home that if he did something wrong, the parent probably said, "Oh, it's probably my fault," as opposed to saying, "Look what you gave me. Look what you gave me." And I was thinking about this all Shabbos. I couldn't stop thinking about this. This guy is the image of Ach HaGadol is in my mind. All Shabbos, Kabbalah Shabbos, Maariv, Shachris, Musaf, all the time. Because really there are two types of homes in the world. There are homes with parents that say, when they see something wrong, they say, I probably could have given over the message sweeter. Or there's, I can't believe I have to deal with this. I can't believe this is my bag. And then there are those that go from here or there, back and forth, like 20 times in a Shabbos morning. Oh my God, I wish I knew how to tell them over Torah better. And then 2 minutes later, I cannot believe you gave me this bag, right? It's back and forth. Yeah, Yeshua.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, I hear what Shlomo was saying, and I'm just trying to think about how easy this could go to a place of guilt or to a place of ego. You know, so I'm trying to think, what is the insight here? How do you direct this into a place of either action or compassion, empathy, as opposed to, oh, it's on me, I feel terrible, or it's all about me, what just happened here, as opposed to interacting with the person in front of you?
I have no idea. That's why I started with the questions in the beginning about guilt, responsibility, all these different inyanim. These are things we have to work through on an exercise level. You have to catch yourself. This kind of Torah is not. It's not like, okay, this is a vort. It's like I'm going to catch myself throughout the week falling into one of these traps, and then ask myself the questions. Have enough guts to be vulnerable enough to say, what's going on over here really on the inside? You hear the difference? Your question is perfect, but I can't know that unless I'm in it. At that moment, I'm inside it. Then maybe I have a chance of figuring it out. Maybe. Also, that's not guaranteed. So look how he ties this into the Parsha. The Zohar Kodesh says that when the spies walked into Eretz Yisrael, they all had clear prophecy. They saw a river of blood flowing from Yerushalayim to all over the world. They saw the destruction of the temple, they saw the Inquisition, they saw Auschwitz. They saw everything, and therefore they said, let's not go there. But there was one little thing they didn't see. They didn't see that the reason for which we were not going into Israel, which may be because of them. They couldn't imagine that they were not the cause. Does anyone understand that? It's a little bit hard with his English. But you understand what they were saying? The nekuda of the Meraglim is, it's true. What they saw, there's no opinion. All Rishonim Achronim, no one says that what they saw was sheker. That no one. They saw exactly what they saw. Well, in the inside, what was the problem? Is that they couldn't fathom. Maybe they said, wow, if we were a bit deeper and holier, well, we're Nesim, so we must know exactly what's going on. The way we see it must be the way it is. But on a Pnimi level, maybe it could mean, Rabbi Shlomo was saying over here, if they had an ounce of whatever that word is, which we haven't figured out yet, is it anava? Is it bitul? I don't know what the word you want to plug in. But whatever it is, they were missing, prevented them from looking at the problem of Eretz Yisrael and saying, Ribono Shel Olam, maybe it's because of me. Maybe the way I'm looking at all this, maybe the way I'm perceiving Eretz Yisrael, maybe it's my fault. But wait a second, that's what I see in front of me. It's true. It's what you see in front of you. It's true, your kids are going insane. That's true. However, could it be that the cause might have something to do with you? So according to the Baal Shem, of course it has something to do with you, because otherwise you wouldn't see it. That's what we've been learning all year long. It has to do something with you. The question is, on an action level, then how do you proceed? And that's really what you're asking over there. Where do you fall in there? Where's that place? So that was by the Meraglim. Everything the Meraglim say is right, but one little thing they're missing, it might be their fault. Now when Aaron HaKohen walked into the Kodesh Kodashim on Yom Kippur, he didn't even ask for forgiveness. He didn't even say one word regarding Mechila. He walked into the Kodesh Kodashim and said, Ribono Shel Olam, it's all my fault because I am the high priest. I'm the Kohen Gadol. And if I would be better, they would also be better. That's actually the most beautiful perush I ever heard regarding V'chiper ba'ado uve'ad beito uve'ad kol kahal Yisrael. That Aaron HaKohen would not go into the Kodesh Kodashim and start trying to explain to Hashem why people are sinning, other than saying, I'm the Kohen Gadol. They learned from me, essentially, how to be mensches in this world and how to be good Jews in this world. If I was more refined, if I was better, if I was more pure, it has to be that they would also become like that as well. There's another teaching Rabbi Shlomo said on his last Hoshana Rabbah in the world, that why is Hoshana Rabbah such a day of Geulah? What happens in Shamayim on Hoshana Rabbah is that all year long when Satan comes to Hashem and says, look at your children, so Hashem says, it's like a neighbor coming to a neighbor and saying, your kids, look how they mess up the garden, look how they mess up the neighborhood. So all year long, parents say, my God, thank you for telling me I'm really going to give it to them right now. And then they'll learn their lesson. But one day a year, which is Hoshana Rabbah, the Satan comes to Hashem and says, look at your children. Look at the mess that they're making. And what does Hashem say then? He says, it's my fault. I didn't give over to them my words sweet enough. It must be the way that I taught them how to act. Something was lacking over there. That's what Rabbi Shlomo said his last Hoshana Rabbah in the world. And this is how Aaron HaKohen takes responsibility, the light of the Kohen. He really never starts to get involved with that. By the way, how does Moshe Rabbeinu deal with this? Like when Jews, when the Am Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael are driving him crazy.
People.
Therefore, he's not the Kohen Gadol. He's Moshe Rabbeinu. He brings us down the Torah. But the Kohen Gadol never says, why did you give me these people? In fact, what does he end up doing? He builds for them a golden calf. He says, it must be, if this is the way I'm teaching them, I'm going to put this on myself. He ends up doing exactly the mamish, the opposite of saying, why did you give me these people? This is not, by the way, a Moshe Rabbeinu bashing session, chas v'shalom. But we're just trying to look at the personalities that we have with us. So Rabbi Shlomo says in the third to bottom paragraph, you know what holy is? Holy, to be kadosh, means to be a good person. But kodesh kodashim is to say, everything is my fault. Meaning, to look at anything that you see wrong in the world, and you say there's an aspect of you, not to bury yourself in the ground. So maybe you're sure we're getting closer to addressing what you're bringing up. It's not to bury you in the ground and say, the point here is to feel like you are mamash, the reason for all hatred and evil in the world. But it's to look at something that's off, and not to run away from it and say, wow, thank God that's not my trip. You say, wait a second. Zaken kashor elai. I am taking certain important responsibility and asking Hashem, what is the tshuva I'm supposed to take in from based on what I'm saying right now? What does Korach say? I'm the holiest Jew. That's basically what Korach is saying without saying it, right? Korach is saying, I'm the holiest Jew in the world. So what does it look like when Korach walks into the Kodesh Kodashim? Have you ever met those people who stand before you and say that they are holy without trying to say it? Disgusting. Because even if they are holy, it smells so bad and so disgusting. Like you ever meet people that basically they're giving over, they're trying so hard not to say that they think about themselves that they're holy, but basically they'll tell you everything around that. So yeah, you are holy, you do holy things, but the way that you're holy, mom, it smells. You're doing holy things in the world. It's great. But it's like, it has a stench. Your holiness has a stench. Whenever we see something wrong in the world, it should be clear to us, it is our fault. We have to fix it. We have to fix it. We need people like Aaron and Cohen that every person they see, they say, you're so good, you're so beautiful. I know someday, sorry about that typo, we will all be shining lights in the world. So I beg you, whenever you see something wrong in the world, think about it. Maybe it's our fault. If we would be better, then the whole world will be better as well. So I'm taking this teaching on many, many different levels. One of them, one of the big ones that you've heard me harp on for a long time, is this concept of Eretz Yisrael. It's just getting clearer and clearer to me on the one hand how badly our Jewish brothers and sisters need to come and join us here. It's clear, especially those that are just on fire for Hashem. It's getting really clearer and clearer. But the fact that they're not here yet, and it's not even on the consciousness of most, so now let's take this Torah.
It's on you.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Maybe your moon is not right. Maybe you're not holding yourself properly. Maybe you're not conveying a message properly. You're not seeing something. It's on you.
Maybe if I was growing here more like I should be, then they would
Right.
healthy enough here as well.
Or maybe there's just the aspect of believing and taking responsibility and doing the very best that you can to affect that, and then trusting that Hashem's going to do the rest. I mean, I think if you take this to the end, you could get into a really super dark place.
Correct.
Right?
That's what you brought up.
Like you go to this place, all of a sudden, whether it's your kids or whether it's all the Jews in the hoods or whatever, you can get in a super dark place, and humans can't stay in that place. You'll stop yourself. And so maybe you just get to the place where you do accept the consciousness of saying, my behavior impacts the world around me. What I am impacts the world around me. So if I see the world is broken, I know I need to continue to work on myself. But if I'm conscious and I'm doing what I can do and I'm doing the best I can, then I have to trust that Hashem is in control of the rest.
You go tap into what the Rebbe said for R Shlomo.
It's not for you to know, like full on.
Don't try to counter.
Right.
Well, it's about opinion.
Right.
That's, I think, what I hear from the Rebbe's words to R Shlomo is he's saying you can't figure out how you're doing because this is not going on the outside.
Right.
I'm not looking for signs. It's a change that could happen inside somebody you might never know you helped to affect.
I think that this really happens a lot in a community, like our community, any community in the world. If you see something that's off, it is so easy to feel that your avoda is to point out what their problem is and to fix them. Easiest thing in the world. But to see something that's off within your own community and to have enough, I don't know what the word is, maybe it's courage or holy chutzpah, I really don't know yet what the terminology is for this very deep concept, but to stop at that moment, you catch yourself, you see something off, stop at that moment, before you go one step further about thinking about, I can't believe like I'm associated with those people. Stop. Efani. Where am I? Where am I? It's so easy to puzzle everyone. It's just the easiest thing in the world. But to stop and say, where am I? And it's an interesting thing that in the Parsha of Shlach, the word for community is called Edah. Also in here, it's called Edah and the word Kahal. There's a lot of community speech in both the Meraglim and in Korach, because they were looking at the communities, at the insides of what's going on. And we see mistakes of big people that aren't clear how to view, how to absorb, how to take in moments that look like things are really off. So therefore, the beginning of the tikkun from learning from these very, very heavy parshiot is this very holy work, this exercise of catching yourself when you see someone that you think is off. You see something that you think is off. And to ask yourself at that moment, what is my nekudah here? And also to run away, to also not bury yourself. But I don't think that stopping and seeing where am I with this means you're burying yourself. And I think that it's good that we're doing this. We have to find the kav hashaveh, this middle ground over here, because we don't want to walk around and look at every single thing, but that's wrong. Look at every Yisrael in the world and wonder like, oh my God, I have to learn Torah I have to stop talking to the world and just learn Torah all day long, so that these guys don't end up being like Yisraels in the world.
And then what happens if you did do that,
and
they still don't change?
That was the question. We asked that before. Then you're nowhere. Lo alecha hamelacha ligmor. This is not the melcha to finish, but you at least have to be open and to realize, wait a second, this does have to do with me. And there's still a lot of pain in the world. There's a lot of pain. There's you. I don't have to tell you, as if you guys aren't filled with your own stories, family stuff, and Michigan. There's so much pain in the world. It's crazy. So there's never like this. There's always an opportunity to stop and ask, where am I regarding what's happening in the world? And that's just a beautiful way to approach why Hashem is letting me know all these very crazy stories during Sefer Bamidbar. Where am I? So I give us a bracha for koach and patience to catch ourselves next time, whether it's our child, a spouse, whatever it is, and to start seeing, start checking out, when do we run away from the responsibility, and why do we run away from the responsibility, but also to develop a rhythm of trying to learn and figure out what gives me the koach to take another moment of responsibility and stop and ask myself, wow, what am I made out of? And remember that which activates the courage button. To remember what activates the courage button, what that rhythm is, and to keep on using it and to keep on revisiting these concepts like this. All right, Yeshar Koach, everyone. Please, please, please send in the tefillot, and we'll continue Tuesday morning, Be'ezrat Hashem.